there is a different feeling of like, I always felt like I was one of the best or the best player in the league, especially the last couple of years. But it was always a debate. But now it's like, yo, no, I just won.
I believe in this.
I did what y'all said I could not do.
Jayson Tatum wishes he would have played more minutes during Team USA's gold medal run at the 2024 Paris Olympics, but still cherished the opportunity to compete against the world's best players. The Boston Celtics star was benched for 2 of Team USA's 6 Olympic contests while playing sparingly in others, which resulted in Team USA and Warriors coach Steve Kerr receiving plenty of backlash for his lineup rotations. Let's see what Jayson Tatum said.
Want to address that I didn't play in 2 of those games? That's what you mean?
That's part of it, yeah.
Motivation. I guess you could say that, and if you want to simplify it. In real time, it was tough. And Joe, I talk to Joe a lot. Joe was probably the happiest person in the world that I didn't win Finals MVP and that I didn't play in 2 of the games in the Olympics. So that was odd, but if you know Joe, it makes sense. Did I need any extra motivation coming into the season? No, I don't. I'm not gonna give anybody in particular credit that they're motivating me to come into the season. It was a unique circumstance, something that I haven't experienced before in my playing career, but I'm a believer that everything happens for a reason. I was coming off a championship, the highest of the highs, and cover a 2K, a new contract, and then that happened. And whatever the reason is, I haven't figured out yet, but
it's inspiring to see him stay positive and focused on the season ahead, believing everything happens for a reason. Let's see what Steve Kerr said before.
Best game of the whole summer to this point, but you didn't get to use Jayson Tatum, who's obviously one of the best players in the league. Obviously, that's one of the hard things to do in your role.
It's tough, but Jayson handled it really well. I talked to him today before the game that it may play out this way, just with Kevin coming back and the lineups that I wanted to get to. But that'll change. Jayson's going to play. Every game's going to be different based on matchups. He's a total pro. He's first team All-NBA 3 years in a row. I felt like an idiot not playing him. But in a 40-minute game, you can't play more than 10. You really can't. And so I think he's an amazing guy, great player, and handled it beautifully. And he'll be back out there next game.
Celtics fans in particular were very upset with Kerr over Tatum's usage, and in speaking to reporters after Team USA's 98-87 win over France at Bercy Arena, Tatum admitted his lack of playing time was a tough pill to swallow, but maintained a humble approach as he stayed ready for his next opportunity. Let's see what Stephen A. Smith said.
Invade all of us. And when I think about what he did to Jayson Tatum during the Summer Olympics, it is inexcusable.
It's hard to believe that there wasn't room for Jayson Tatum in the lineup, especially before a game.
And all of that, I'm just saying, you can't find minutes for Jayson Tatum, really? And then you go up to him before the Serbia game, a game in which you won by 26 points, and you tell him, I may not be able to find time for you before the game? It's unforgivable.
I completely agree with Smith. Jayson Tatum deserves better treatment, and it's frustrating to hear about the lack of communication before such an important game. Jayson said, "It was challenging. I can't lie. It was challenging, especially after the experience of the highest winning a championship, and then put in a new situation where you've never been in that spot before. But, I didn't want to make it about me. I got a chance to come to work with 11 other guys I got nothing but love and respect for. And, we won. I'm happy about that. I just stayed a professional. I came to work every day. Just stay ready. We got great guys on this team, and while you feel like you deserve to play and the competitor in you wants to play, as a coach for a reason he makes those decisions. Your job as a player is to stay ready whenever your number is called." While Tatum kept relatively quiet about his usage throughout the Olympics, the Celtics star did take to social media on Sunday after the tournament to share a post from rapper Vince Staples to his Instagram story, seemingly referencing the controversy. Let's see what Ben Grunert tweeted. Jayson Tatum posted this on his Instagram story. Tatum also heard from concerned friends and family who reached out to him about his lack of playing time. I mean, a lot of people texted me and reached out and were like, make sure this fuels you, which I appreciate, Tatum added. There's a lot of people that care about me, but I think the tough part is, yes, you can use things to fuel you, but, you know, I'm still human, and it's still a human aspect, part of being in the moment. I sacrificed and put a lot into this game and worked really, really hard. So, you know, in the moment it is tough, so I'm not necessarily worried about fueling me for November or whatever the season is, but like I said, it's something I'm going to take away from this and learn, and from this experience, definitely challenging and humbling at the same time. I had fun. I did. It was a great team of guys to be around. We went to some great cities and different countries, and we won the gold medal. Let's see Tatum performance.
It's good stuff, Abby. The note on the three-point percentage out west is pretty insane. I mean, he makes almost half his threes here. Tatum, wow! He brought his big boy pants today.
Get loose, young fella. Putting on a show. You know, like Boston wants to move it here. 5-on-4. White to Tatum. Tatum now drives, and Tatum, an exclamation point. Jayson Tatum, look out below, coach. Wow. And how do they fight their way in? Obviously, they want to muck the game up. That's a familiar ring. Poked away from behind. Celtics get a turnover. The two chairs go to work. Brown to Tatum. And the Celtics flawless in transition. How about the start for the Celtics again?
Let's see what Carmelo Anthony said.
I understand why Tatum may have not played. I don't agree with how they went about it. Right. And here's what I say. If you know you're picking this team, and you have these positions in these spots, and you look at every spot, and you look at the depth chart, right? Okay, you got point guards, you got, Steph, Drew, you know what I mean? You got Bron, KD, you know what I mean, at the three, whatever. Tatum is on with them, right? So you have Bron.
They had him in a 4, right?
Tatum arguably had the best year of his career in 2024, both on and off the court. After winning a championship with the Celtics in June, Tatum signed a historic 5-year, $315 million contract extension with Boston in early July, before he was announced as the cover athlete of NBA 2K25 just a few days later. He capped off his memorable summer with his second career Olympic gold medal, one that he wishes he could have contributed more toward winning.
To me, she's like a role model, and she's really inspiring to me.
She's like really good and like outstanding shooter, and like she's just a good person to look up to, like a good human.
Thank you, Caitlin Clark!
The buzz around the Caitlin Clark effect has been impossible to ignore since the Iowa alum stepped into the WNBA spotlight. And it's easy to see why. Not only has she delivered several record-breaking performances on the court, but she's also played a significant role in boosting the league's popularity, with viewership more than doubling compared to last year. While Clark's journey with the Fever has come to an end, her influence continues to resonate, this time with the NFL franchise.
First thing I'm looking for is the young kids. That's who I look to sign for more than anything.
It's hard not to feel a sense of pride when one of the city's famous sports stars shows up for your game. And that's exactly what the Colts' social media team did. Highlighting Clark's recent Rookie of the Year achievement, they shared a post on X with a video which saw the rookie waving at the camera. Indianapolis Colts tweeted, "The Rookie of the Year is in the building." Since it went live over 36 hours ago, the post has racked up an impressive 6.9 million views, with more than 36,000 likes and nearly 1,500 retweets, showcasing the excitement surrounding her presence. A day later, one Twitter user pointed out an interesting trend in the Colts' social media engagement, tweeting, "The Colts' Twitter account hasn't seen a tweet in the last week receive more than 7,000 likes. This Caitlin Clark 22 post in just the last 24 hours? 34,000 likes and counting." This just goes to show the undeniable influence of what most of us call the Clark phenomenon. Now that her responsibilities with the Indiana Fever are on hold until next season, Clark is making the most of her offseason by relaxing and branching out into other sports. Just a couple of days ago, fans spotted her at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. The 22-year-old was soaking up the excitement of the football team franchise in the game where Indianapolis Colts locked horns with Pittsburgh Steelers. For quite some time, the Indianapolis Colts account hadn't seen a single post hit 1 million impressions. Yet, just a Clark waving her hands has drawn nearly 7 million views to them. Her star power is undeniable and showcases the magnetic pull she has on fans. Still, when a journalist asked the WNBA president about Clark's influence, she firmly stated that no league centers around just one player. In a recent interview with CBS News journalist John Wertheim, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert discussed the league's current status and her insights. When the topic turned to Caitlin Clark, Engelbert highlighted not just the Fever rookie, but also other emerging talents. This led Wertheim to inquire about her tendency to reference other rookies when talking about the Fever rookie's influence. Well, Engelbert wasted no time in providing a thoughtful response. Let's see what WNBA President Cathy Engelbert said about Clark.
No league's ever about one player. That player could get hurt or whatever. So I think it's just to give recognition that in sports, people watch for compelling content and rivalries. And you can't do that alone as one person.
Sure, every league needs more than one player, but let's be real. Caitlin's star power is what fans tune in for. Rivalries are great, but they wouldn't be half as exciting without her on the court. She earlier acknowledged the whole rookie class when Wertheim's question was particularly about the Clark's impact.
The Caitlin Clark phenomenon. How do you describe it?
She's clearly an unbelievable player, came in with an unbelievable following, has brought a lot of new fans to the league. If you look at our historic season around our attendance, our viewership, Caitlin, Angel Reese, Rakia Jackson, Cameron Brink.
Cathy's words just prove how incredible Caitlin is for the league. It's exciting to see her and this rookie class making waves and bringing in new fans. Let's see what Clark said.
And John Paul Jones set a good screen on me, and I actually popped my eardrum, ruptured my eardrum just on a screen.
Your eardrum?
Yeah, it was a really good screen by JJ. She's a tremendous player, but I think that just kind of speaks to the physicality of the league. It's just, she kind of got me in the right spot.
You smiled when you told that story. Good, clean basketball play.
It's a good story. I think it's something that I'll always remember coming into this league.
Triple-doubles, those are all well and good, but it's the eardrum rupture.
That's probably more memorable, honestly.
Let's see what fans said.
I believe Caitlin is a massive hero in America. My first time, don't know anything about basketball.
It's everything. Girl dad, shout out all the girl dads out there. I love it to be able to come here, have fun, give my daughter the trip.
Fans are expressing their excitement and appreciation for Caitlin Clark, calling her a hero in America. While Engelbert offers a thoughtful take on Caitlin Clark's remarkable influence, recognizing the significant following she has cultivated and her impact on viewership and ticket sales in the league. The recent surge in popularity for the Indianapolis Colts highlights just how far Clark's reach extends, demonstrating her ability to attract attention and grow the fan base. While other rookies deserve credit as well, it's clear that Caitlin is leading the charge in expanding the appeal of women's basketball. As the Indiana Fever's hopes of going ahead of round one have ended, the team is looking to rebuild, which might involve a certain Fever star to leave the team. Despite the chances of Kelsey Mitchell exiting the team, the Fever stars Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, and Erica Wheeler have showered their praises on the 28-year-old via Instagram on Monday. Mitchell had posted a series of photos from the Indianapolis-based franchise's season this year and had written a caption talking about her year that looked to be full of ebbs and flows for her. Taking note of the same, her teammates swiftly came to cheer her up as Clark commented, "Proud of ya." A similar emotion was displayed by Hull, who wrote, "Lots of love for you." Adding to the same sentiment, Boston enumerated, "Agent Zero, love, the best leader." Meanwhile, Wheeler expressed, "Thank you for allowing me in, dog. Shit deeper than this. You one hell of a human. One day you gotta share your story, gang. Shit will inspire folks. Pop's proud of you." The 28-year-old in the caption had written about the setback she faced this year. I got low, shedded tears nobody saw, got my back dirty just to make it, threw all my cards on the table, trusted God to save myself, guaranteed my best, willing and able, forever dying on my own sword, Mitchell wrote. Notably, the Fever guard lost her father this year in March. Let's see what Kelsey Mitchell said.
Oh man, I was grateful. I didn't know how I was gonna get through this year. And so, I first thank God because...
To top that, the Indiana-based franchise couldn't advance ahead of the Round 1 playoffs, which would have certainly impacted her. All this probably got her to drop hints of exiting the franchise after 6 years. Let's see what Clark said about Kelsey.
I felt like Kels probably should have got a little love. I honestly thought she probably should have been player of the month. Just what she was doing and at the clip she was doing it. I think she was like 50, 40, 90 this month, which is...
Let's see what Lexi Hull said.
I think she's just... I've said this before, but she's so mature for being 22 years old and having the attention that she has. It's pretty incredible. And
Mitchell was drafted by the Indiana Fever as the 2nd overall pick in 2018. Since that time, the Fever has been in a rebuilding phase, but the Ohio-born's performance peaked this season as she presented probably the best backcourt in the W this year. However, when the Fever had to exit from the WNBA playoffs, reflecting on her season, Mitchell said,
It's definitely a lot of emotions and thoughts that flow through my mind. I think that everything for me is so fresh that I don't know what I need and what I'm going to do, but I know that.
Kelsey's honesty about her emotions shows her deep connection to the organization and her journey. I'm hopeful she finds the right opportunity to return to her Indiana home. She deserves it. Let's see how well these girls played.
But has picked up a triple-double here today and gets the and one.
Combined with the fact that Mitchell's contract will end this year and she will be in free agency from here on, field speculations of her exiting from the franchise are prominent. Labeling herself selfish, 2018's number 2 pick had opined,
what I'm going to do, but I know that when the time comes and the opportunity is right for me to make those decisions, obviously I've always had a home in Indy, so it could potentially be a home for me.
Hopefully, she will be soon able to make a decision for her future. Meanwhile, if she exits, then it will mean a tough season for the Indiana fans. The Indiana Fever was having a tough season up until the Olympics break. But after a late resurgence from Clark and Mitchell, it was a thing of the past for the Fever. The Fever from there on changed their tally from 11 to 15 to 20 to 20. And a lot of credit goes to Mitchell for it. While Clark dominated with her assists and scoring, Mitchell assumed the role of an alpha in games where the Iowa alumna would play the second fiddle. Her 36-point performance against the Dallas Wings in September will always be remembered for saving the Fever timely during the game. Overall, she averaged 23.4 points per game after the Olympics break. Therefore, if Mitchell were to leave, then the Fever would once again find themselves in backcourt troubles. Considering that Clark would continue with the Fever, they will have to look for another guard in any of their new recruits. According to the ESPN Mock Draft 2025, the Fever can draft UCLA's Janiyah Barker. While Barker is known for her post display, she can be an able partner to Clark in terms of scoring and making way when Clark is guarded. But the Fever fans, as of now, will be hoping that Mitchell doesn't leave the Fever, as it was after 2016 that the team made it to the playoffs this season, hoping Clark too will come forward to share her perspective on the rumors.
Remember this.
If your only argument for Caitlin is that it would have been a great marketing opportunity and you don't have basketball experience or chemistry with the group listed in your reasoning, I don't want to hear it.
This is the most popular women's basketball player in the world.
It was a stupid decision because it compromises what your ultimate goal is, which is to elevate the WNBA brand.
Caitlin Clark is certain she will return even stronger next season after the Connecticut Sun beat the Indiana Fever 87-81 to end her hopes of finishing her rookie year with a WNBA championship title. On First Take, Molly, Chini Ogwumike, and Stephen A. Smith reveal shocking fact about Caitlin Clark. But before that, let's see what Clark said.
She definitely came up with some big shots.
Got it off to a slow start, but Big Shot Bonner showed up when she needed to.
And later, with 1:05 left, Clark with the pass to Kelsey Mitchell. She misses, get the rebound.
Shoot the layup.
Not sure what happened there, but on the very next possession, Alyssa Thomas to Marina Mabry to seal the deal. Connecticut wins 87-81. They advance to their sixth straight.
She did her best. But let's see what Chiney said.
On the road, and this is late in the fourth, 4:06 left. Caitlin Clark comes up with a huge three. We've seen that left side three before.
Side step to the left. You know she loves to get into that three-pointer off the dribble, going to her left.
1:56 left. Alyssa Thomas with the pass to Dewana Bonner. She definitely came up with some big shots.
Got it off to a slow start, but Big Shot Bonner showed up when she needed to.
And later, with 1:05 left, Clark with the pass to Kelsey Mitchell. She misses, get the rebound.
Shoot the layup.
Not sure what happened there, but on the very next possession, Alyssa Thomas to Marina Mabry to seal the deal.
Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA as the most influential women's basketball player we've seen in a generation.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA as the most impactful women's basketball player we've seen in a generation.
I couldn't agree more with Chiney. Caitlin Clark is such an impactful player and has brought a whole new level of excitement to the WNBA. Her talent and influence are truly unmatched. Even with her WNBA season over, Caitlin Clark continues to set records as her entrance into professional basketball has skyrocketed interest in the product to uncharted territory. The Fever exited the postseason on Wednesday night with a loss to the Connecticut Sun. Game 2 of their WNBA quarterfinal matchup was the most-watched game in league history on cable, averaging 2.5 million viewers. The Suns' win over the Fever peaked at 3.4 million viewers and helped the second half of their playoff doubleheader between the Mercury and Lynx average 1.2 million viewers. The same viewing slot for the WNBA raised viewership 507% from last year's figures. Clark played in the most viewed cable telecast of the day for everyone in males under the age of 50.
Connecticut looking to close things out tonight, and here we go.
They're hoping that can discourage Alyssa Thomas from making some of her great passes.
No one picks up Clark, who cans the three. Rebound flagged down by Clark.
The latter game of Phoenix, Minnesota was the third most watched WNBA playoff game ever on ESPN. The first round games overall have averaged 1.1 million viewers, the most watched postseason in WNBA history. In the season-ending loss to the Sun, Clark scored 25 points, adding 9 assists and 6 rebounds. She's the first rookie to have pulled off a 25-5-5 game in the postseason. The WNBA Rookie of the Year being at the forefront of the Fever's revival led her to achieving several more astonishing feats during the regular season as well. Let's see what Molly said before.
Some of us felt like maybe she hadn't proved it in the WNBA, but at this point, she certainly has. So she proved everybody wrong.
What about the guards? Let's talk about the guards that did make it.
That's rude, Molly. Let's see what Smith said to Molly.
The only other athletes that I can see recently, the past generation, that have moved the needle like this, maybe Serena Williams, absolutely. Anytime she played, anytime she won titles, straight up viewership, box office, Simone Biles, we just came off of the Olympics. You look at that list. Now, the difference is Caitlin has yet to win.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about women's basketball is people are following her story. They followed her story at Iowa, now to the pros, and now people are going to continue to follow her until she hopefully gets a championship.
First of all, let's put this in its proper perspective. When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport. That's not to take anything away from anybody else, but I often argue, when I've argued with folks about this, you think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Magic Johnson?
It's frustrating to hear Molly downplay Caitlin Clark's Olympic team selection. Smith was right to call her out. Clark wasn't just chosen for her stats at the time, but for her incredible potential and overall impact on the game. Team USA picks players who bring more than just numbers, and Clark has proven she deserved that spot, no matter what anyone says. Molly asked to Smith,
That doesn't, when the audience was telling you, no, something else
But
matters.
let me just hold on. Let me say one thing, because I want to push this forward to Alyssa Thomas.
Sure.
Stephen A., what is the major point that you want to make here, your major thesis statement on this? Because every time Caitlin Clark comes up, I feel like...
Oh, Molly, seriously? Every time Caitlin Clark comes up, you just have to throw shade. It's pretty clear you can't handle how much attention she's getting. Maybe instead of taunting Smith, you should recognize that Clark's talent speaks for itself. Smith responds to Molly.
...of this narrative,
Well,
where you're frustrated.
Well, first of all, I'm not frustrated. Number two, I did get stuff off my chest on numerous occasions. I'm just reiterating my points because I think one of the things that needed to be mentioned was that even though Caitlin Clark is new to this, and even though she has proven to be a potentially sensational player, the resentment that some, not most, not all, but they say some, those who squeak get the loud, I forgot the phrase, but that stuff that was going on was real. And you see it with some of her fans. You see it with a lot of people who were looking at the WNBA and using that as a means to castigate them. People like myself, you and others certainly came to the WNBA's defense in terms of the credibility that the league has earned, that it richly deserves, the support that it has now received, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Smith is absolutely right. Caitlin Clark's talent is undeniable, and the resentment she faces is real. It's frustrating to see some people ignore the impact she's having, while the WNBA finally gets the recognition it deserves.
I feel like basketball has really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career because it ended so fast. And then I came here and was trying to give everything I could to this team. And it was special. There was a lot of things that this group accomplished that, a lot of people probably didn't think was possible.
All right, Caitlin finally getting a moment to breathe, right? As she just mentioned, didn't even get to reflect at all on her college career and just jumped right into things and had an epic season. How would you describe, Chene, her historic career?
Yeah,
a year this far.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA as the most impactful women's basketball player we've seen in a generation. And
I can totally understand where Caitlin is coming from. She's been nonstop, giving everything to her teams, and it's amazing to see how much she's accomplished. Taking time to reflect on her journey makes sense, especially after such a whirlwind year. She's done so much that people didn't expect, and fans can't wait to see what's next for her. Andrea Carter revealed how Connecticut's Sun won. She said,
but also when you think about this Connecticut team, they're balanced. Yeah. Everybody scored that got in the game. They had 18 points off the bench. Veronica Burton and Olivia Nelson-Ododa were phenomenal. They played so well. Alyssa Thomas was doing her thing. Big Shot Bonner made shots. They were more experienced, but they also had more weapons. When you look at Indiana, they had 3 weapons offensively. It was Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston. They couldn't compete.
I think the biggest thing was...
It's tough to see Indiana struggle, especially when they rely so heavily on Clark. Connecticut's depth and experience were just too much to handle. Even though Indiana couldn't compete this time, I know Caitlin gave it her all, and I can't wait to see her continue to grow and lead in the future.
A scoring record or the all-time scoring record in college. But now you see her in the WNBA and you can say the exact same thing. Most impactful that we've seen in women's basketball for those same 2 reasons. Arenas were upgraded, viewership through the roofs. But then when it comes to the basketball, what she was able to do was truly impressive. She averaged 19 and 8.
Fans agree with Chinese assessment, recognizing Caitlin Clark's continued impact in the WNBA. Her record-breaking college career and ability to boost viewership and elevate the game in the league have impressed many, showing she's truly a standout player in women's basketball.
Basketball, what she was able to do was truly impressive. She averaged 19 and 8. For some context, I won Rookie of the Year. I think I averaged 12. It is a huge feat to get those types of numbers. After Olympic break, you mentioned it, Molly. It's like finally she can wait, waiting to exhale.
Totally.
23, 9, and 8 were her averages, bringing the Fever to the playoffs. I know that there was a big 3 with Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell as well, but what she has been able to do has transcended not just women's basketball, but it's women's sports in this moment.
Fans amazed by Caitlin Clark. Averaging 19 points and 8 assists is huge, Especially for a rookie, she's taking women's sports to new heights, and it's impressive.
Women's sports in this moment. The only other athletes that I can see recently, the past generation that have moved the needle like this, maybe Serena Williams, absolutely. Anytime she played, anytime she won titles, straight up viewership, box office, Simone Biles, we just came off of the Olympics. You look at that list. Now the difference is Caitlin has yet to win.
Caitlin Clark is on the same level as legends like Serena Williams and Simone Biles in terms of impact. She'll be unstoppable in next season.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
The rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is definitely one of the hottest topics in the WNBA right now. Both players had incredible games, but in a recent podcast, Dan Dockich revealed fascinating insights about their rivalry. He said,
You know, it is amazing, and this is the stuff that we talked about basically all summer long. It is amazing the impact that Caitlin Clark has. I'm not throwing Angel Reese in there, but others do, and that's a good thing. But Caitlin Clark has literally carried the sport on her back all summer long. Caitlin Clark was the gift.
Many fans agree with Dan's words. Caitlin Clark had been amazing this summer and really had been the star of the sport. It's impressive to see how much she's contributed. The Indiana Fever rookies' arrival in the WNBA had signaled a new era for the league. Combined with the Angel Reese rivalry, not only did women's basketball change on a professional level, but also a college level. However, as recent numbers show, these former NCAA superstars have affected men's college basketball as well. Dan Dockich, in his latest Don't At Me episode, revisits a Fox News Digital article in conversation with two of the top men's recruits in college basketball this year. Let's see what Dan said.
No, Caitlin Clark's game resonated. Caitlin Clark's rivalry with Reese resonated. It resonated with me, which means it resonates with men.
Their competition inspires many and connects with a wide audience, including strong men. Let's see what Carrie Champion said about Clark and Reese rivalry.
The story of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, the rivalry, which really isn't a bad rivalry or a true rivalry on the court, is a good thing.
The rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese might not be super intense, but it's still a great storyline for the game. It adds excitement and keeps fans engaged. Dan said,
I digress. It also resonated apparently with a couple of college basketball's #1 recruits, Dylan Harper and Ace Bradley, two of whom.
It's exciting to see that Caitlin Clark's story is resonating with top recruits like Dylan Harper and Ace Bradley. Their decision to head to Rutgers shows how impactful her game had been. It just goes to show how inspiring she is for the next generation of players. Harper, the #2 nationally ranked recruit in the class of 2024, told Fox how he thinks all players are at the end of the day the same, presumably because of their love for basketball. Fox writer Jackson Thompson also mentions how the NCAA women's final had 18.9 million viewers, while the men had 14.8 million. The younger son of former player Ron Harper, Dylan also revealed how he had always followed women's basketball to a degree because his mom coached teams. Meanwhile, Bailey, the #3 ranked recruit, told the news network that Reese and Clark were what made him follow women's basketball. But if he gets the chance to talk to either of them, who would he choose? I would probably talk to Angel Reese, her competitiveness for sure. What keeps her driving? Dan said.
FYI, the women's basketball tournament had 18.9 million viewers, while the men had 14.8 viewers. Ride or die with Caitlin Clark, baby.
While many believe, including Dan Dockich, that CC has carried women's basketball on her shoulders these last few years, her rivalry with Angel Reese is also what has made it more interesting. But the former basketball pro also believes that the WNBA was not ready for this boom. Well, let's see what Clark said about Reese.
I don't think I've ever been her teammate before with even a USA basketball or anything like that. So I know people are going to be really excited about it, but I hope it doesn't take away from everybody else. Like, this is a huge accomplishment for everybody on Team USA and everybody on Team WNBA. Like, they all deserve the same praise. Like, I don't want it to take away from any of that and just be the focal point of All-Star Weekend, because that's not fair to them. And, you know, obviously this is something that's really hard to accomplish. So the best we can celebrate all of them will be great. And just going to obviously soak in the experience, because you never know if you're ever going to be able to get back there. And it'll be fun for all of us.
She is amazing and respectful. How could we not support her? No matter what critics said, let's see Clark record breaking performance.
Corrals it, veers into space. Here's Clark. Clark looking to take it around Lloyd. Clark bodies in and finishes. Clark trying to shake Whitcomb. Step back is good. In the mid-range for Caitlin Clark. Missed there from Lloyd. Clark the fling ahead. Oh, what a dime! And Mitchell lays it in! And Caitlin Clark officially has the most assists ever.
Assist, another get ahead. Caitlin Clark, head up. Right in stride for Kelby Mitchell. She did not have to alter her speed one bit.
Here's Katie Lou Samuelson. Can't hit the three in the corner. Boston the rebound. Clark a good look. She got it.